from Group D. And just like we saw earlier, every single game is incredibly important, Nathanius, at this stage of the tournament with so many good players. And here we go. The finalist from BlizzCon, up here to the top left, is the red Terran player playing for Team Acer. It's MMA. He's a great player, Nathanius.
A great player indeed. And looking to see how he's shaped up his Terran versus Zerg against this opponent, who can play quite unorthodox. In the southwest position, the blue Zerg from Team Liquid, he is Snute.
He's actually something we should bring up is just before, I guess, the last couple of hours, is Snute's been in the private VIP Razor Lounge, which is excellent. It's very fantastic. We were there just now as well.
Yeah.
It's cozy. It's quiet-ish. It's kind of hard to be quiet at this LAN, but it's quiet-ish. He's been practicing there by himself for the last 5 hours. He's been playing some practice games versus someone I won't name, as they do like to keep those things private to each other. And he's just been playing Terran versus Zerg versus Terran, Zerg versus Terran, Zerg versus Terran. And he's warmed up. He's ready to go. And let's see if he can do a little bit better than his teammate from earlier on.
Yeah, this is an interesting situation to be placed in, because MMA was kind of, when you looked at his performance throughout the years, it's like, okay, he's had a bit up and down, and in a lot of the big tournament victories, you hear more about the TVPs that he'll play against players like Stardust, MC, but not quite as much about the Terran versus Zerg. And TvZ itself was kind of in a weird place for the early part of this year. Then things started to get a little bit better for the Terran side of things once we saw, the Widow Mind Splash get restored to how it was at the release of Heart of the Swarm. But also maps like Merry-Go-Round and Nimbus were denying the fourth base, especially for Terran in Season 3 of WCS, just got a lot easier. This is not one of those maps where it's quite so easy, but MMA, it's just going to open up Reaper pretty standard here. Snute opening up with gas. Maybe we're going to see just a quick speed. Doesn't need to be crazy fast, but maybe he just wants to establish some early map control.
Yeah, getting Zergling speed is almost a must to take a third base nowadays with the Reaper, the Hellions. It's very difficult, I think, if you just have Queens. But let's see how this plays out, because I'm so interested in the mid part of this game, where we all know Snute can play his own unique style and do very, very well. But we'll see if we even get to that point, as MMA is known for his aggression. By the way, if you did notice a little bit earlier on, we did see a heavy drone scout from Snute looking for any potential 2-Raxes, as Moonglade did bring up the last time they played. He lost 2 games in a row in that semi-final in that best of 3 to 2-Raxes.
Yep, very important. MMA is one of the guys that, even on a map as big as this, is brave enough to try to bring out the wheel of cheese, as it were. And as Snute starts up his Zergling speed, it is important in case this has slipped your mind, anyone tuning in, but we do have vertical spawn. So as the Reaper gets pushed back, it's very important to keep in mind that we could end up seeing a very unusual Terran versus Zerg by, at least we wouldn't expect it from anybody other than Snute.
Well, MMA's already chosen to take a very early second gas here, so he's starting to push away from the regular 3 command center set of builds here. So what are his options?
Well, I mean, you've got a couple good ones for this map. The door opens up for builds like the fast tank drop play that most Zergs have kind of gotten okay enough at killing the rocks, like if they scout it, to be all right against it. Then there's the Hellions Banshee, which we actually saw earlier today. And then moving forward, you've got a couple of other weird tiny ones, but it's usually Hellbat based. Marine Hellion drops usually go off of 1 gas, but this tech lab being built on the factory kind of leads me to believe, yeah, it's going to be that tank play. So he could go for the tank drop. And Snute seeing this, like if you're a Zerg player and this happens, it's never bad to just start like a spine crawler and use your queens and lings to just take down the rocks behind your natural, because that can be such a huge nuisance. And I think Snute's actually already got his forces working on them, so if you started early enough, you might not need the spine. However, if you do get caught up, it's going to be quite tricky. Just a handful of lings are going to kill that very slowly.
He did see it very early with that Overlord Scout. Great Overlord Scout, changed his attention, and he's actually trying to break the rocks in between his second and third. As soon as he scouted, he turned his attention to the back rocks there and wants to prevent any damage from being dealt.
I really like where Snute took his third base, though, because when you see that, there's only one other spot, and that's across the gap by the third base, and then, the normal third base, and you can shell from the other mineral line. It's very difficult to defend. So Snute choosing a different third, 100% because he does not want to have to worry about the tank drop really hurting him. And MMA following this up with Hellions, is, you know, in other situations quite good because you can use them to cover the tanks if you take that higher up area. But right now, Snute seems to have everything in place to defend against this. Just, yeah, those rocks are about to break too.
That's right. It shouldn't really take any too much damage at all here. Behind this, MMA has thrown down his third command center and will kind of transition into a more regular game. But he has invested a little bit of resources into this. So let's find out if he can get any worth from it. Because right now, as you said, Snute's looking kind of good.
Yeah, and the reason why this is a bad thing for MMA is he's, to get this tank, to get this medevac, yeah, he's opened the door to get this Viking that can clear Overlords, but he's delayed his stim, he's delayed his double engineering bay. He actually does not have engineering bays yet, and Snute, with the 1-1 upgrades already in progress, he's going to be in a really good position as far as the actual army versus army goes moving forward here. MMA, there's not really anything that he can use this tank for. Maybe he could try to shell across this gap, but at this point, he's playing in untested waters.
Yeah, he only grabs a single Overlord here, and anything else is going to be risky, so he should just want to pick up and get out of there.
Hellions taking some heat from these Zerglings, trying to push out across the map, of course. Nice cleanup, though. As long as you don't lose them, never bad to trade a little bit of hit points. But the engineering bays are just starting up. They're halfway done, as 1-1 is halfway done for Snute.
Yep.
It's not super common for the Zerg player to be ahead in upgrades against a Terran, especially as you get towards the 3-3. So Snute's bought himself a very nice, secure blanket where he should be able to take good trades. Now the tank, MMA still finds a way to make this useful.
Yeah, that's right. He's got 6 Hellions supporting from the high ground. So beautiful move here from MMA. And with only Zerglings currently, it's going to be a little bit difficult to break here with the Hellion support.
Yeah, I really like this. Using the Hellions to cover just makes this so nice. As long as you don't lose the medevac, these Marines can go up and down pretty much all day. And I like how Snute is also focusing on the medevac. He recognizes that it is the most important part of all of this. But now, well, as long as he has vision, the tank is still going to shell away. He doesn't really need to drop the Marines. It's just, you know, a little bit of icing on the cake. In fact, he could even try to swoop on over to the main base with all the Queens actually being pulled over. In fact, I don't even think he's injecting his main or his natural anymore.
I know, this is very bad here for Snute. It started very well. I mean, he deflected the first type of push, but wasn't really ready for this one, and already taken a lot of damage. He's got a lot of units out now, so he should be able to push this one back. MMA is going to unsiege his tank and try to save it at the very least. They're away from these Queens, and he will do that. Excellent play here from MMA. Really, really nice.
Really nice. Few things to note. Okay, now the 2-2 starts up, but the lair's been done for a good 30, 40 seconds. No Spire started, no Baneling speed. So, I mean, also consider that
Baneling nest.
He does, he does have the Baneling nest, but he also lost one of the gases on that third base. So moving up to those upgrades has also become slightly more difficult. This counterattack, though, not bad. Kill a few SCVs, make that third command center lift up, and if you can break in, I guess you got to look for whatever you can get at this point.
Well, that supply depot is going to make a hole here, but great save there from MMA. Builds that supply depot just in the nick of time there.
Yeah, that could have been really bad.
Trying to repair these depots, but another one is going to go down here, and all of a sudden MMA having to put his SCVs on hold position here as the Lings flood through, and is there that much here? There's only a handful of Marines. It looks like there should be enough to push this back, but he's going to take losses.
Yeah, killing quite a few SCVs. Very nice. Now, MMA has transferred all of his units that he had into the main base of Snute at the same time. So the Zerg has been cleaned up. The Hellions are going to fight these Lings, and the Marines are soaking up a lot of damage with these 3 medevacs to heal them. So MMA still finds himself in a really great aggressive position. 16 more Lings. All the Queens are going to be pulled. He's already pulled drones from the main to try to fight off against this. And against Marines, it's not really the strongest thing that you're going to have.
Absolutely not. And these units are doing a lot here for MMA. He pushes his back in a completely aggressive game from both sides here, but MMA, with this drop inside the main base, is getting the upper hand.
Yeah, I mean, Banelings are now on the way, but as long as MMA is looking at his army, his tank should be able to target fire them if they get too close. Never mind the fact that without a Spire, without Mutalisks, he could just pick up everything except the siege tank and walk away with still a very nice trade overall. So everything comes up, okay, we'll lose the tank, but picks up some of the Marines, and that's pretty much all you could ask for, because he could jump over to this third base. The only thing that Snute had was the upgrade advantage, but he's even that up. I will say, just starting 2-2, he's still going to be behind once Snute has his ups.
Well, this is fantastic use and exploitation of the terrain here by MMA up and down these cliff areas, finding himself in the best positions. And he's leading this game currently against Snute. He's moving through the middle of the map. He's got quite a few units now, a couple of Widowmines in support as well. 5 in total, I think, here. 4 or 5 in total. And he's going to start pushing down here. Snute did complete with that Baneling speed. He will have 2-2, but and there's only a ground army currently. Yeah, this is a little bit worrisome.
It's a really big problem that the Mutalisks are coming out so late, and it's, you know, it's not to Snute's fault. It's just that MMA's put on so much pressure and he's done so much damage that Snute couldn't reach this point, because it makes these Widow Mines really tricky to deal with. So he's forced to attack. The mines get some great detonations, picking up a few Banelings here and there, And MMA can continue to abuse his, the fact that there's no anti-air. Just pick up all his Marines and dance them around.
That's right.
Snute, he can't get a good position on this army.
He can't, and this is great use of the upper ground and the low ground here. He's going to pick up and get out of here once again. The Spire's about to complete, so... But at the same time, even though that's about to complete, he really doesn't have that many resources because he's been starved so nicely from these bases.
Yeah, the only thing as MMA's forces get surrounded and pushed away, because those 2-2 upgrades, you know, he's got that advantage at least for this little while, is he didn't really do anything to clear up the creep, but these Widow Mines are still getting them some really good trades either way. And actually, killing off most of those Banelings could almost try to drop again.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only thing that's nice for Snute about that is his creep tumors weren't targeted, he didn't scan, but still, got a long way to go to bring this game back.
I mean, all his queens are defending more so than actually lava injecting here, so he has very few lava to work with in this game. And he's slowly falling further and further behind in this now. 40 supply difference. The 2-2 upgrades are going to complete very soon here for MMA. He's thrown down his 4th command center. He's working on his economy. He's working on his production.
Yeah, that's a really good point. He only has 2 queens injecting hatcheries at the moment, so it really complicates things as far as trying to get out enough larvae. But I guess that would also require him to have a really good economy to spend money because MMA's been up on workers for a nice portion of this game. These Banelings are going to come, but all right, actually good job of baiting those Widow Mines, so he pushes this attack back, but then whoop, right up again you go. And with only 2 Mutalisks, it's not like this is going to really threaten the medevac positioning.
I know, the Mutalisks are going to die incredibly easy here. The 2-2 upgrades do complete from MMA, and he's absolutely toying with Snute in this series. Absolutely fantastic start here to the tournament for MMA, and anyone questioning whether MMA is going to be playing well in this tournament, I think can start to think twice on that. MMA scans ahead of time, has a quick look at the creep tumors, going to look at the high ground, and is in wonderful position to take map number 1.
Yeah, really great start to the series here for MMA as there's a strong opening that got denied pretty well by Snute, but still managed to find a different way to make it work. And at this point, bringing everything, including your queens, to fight against this is just tricky. There's no mutas on the map, so MMA can just continue up and down. He's riding the escalator that is Terran versus Zerg when there's no Mutalisks on the map.
Yeah, just consistent reinforcements coming through the middle of the map here from MMA. Way too much for Snute to handle. And as soon as he starts to get broken on that hatchery, the game will end. GG.